Thomas, for your very interesting presentation and giving us the insight in your organization, in your work. I would propose that any questions that you have for Thomas be put a little bit later on the table, because due to the slight changes in program, I will invite Ms. Milena Bučar-Miklaučić to start her presentation now, because she has to leave at 6 o'clock. So due to this slight change, our next speaker is, as I said, Milena Bučar-Miklaučić. She's from Science and Research Center Koper, Institute for Olive Oil Culture. At the beginning, we have to emphasize that olive growing in Slovenia's littoral Primorska region has a long history. The extra virgin olive oil from Slovenian Istra was the first Slovenian product registered as PDO in EU register. Professional and research assistance is provided by the highly specialized laboratory, working predominantly in the field of olive oil quality and authenticity. Before we listen to the next presentation, I invite you all to watch a short thematic video.
Everyone in the world loves olive oil. You don't have to be a chef to know you can use it in thousands of ways. What's more, not only does extra virgin olive oil have a unique flavor and smell, but it's also rich in healthy nutrients. Unfortunately, like many other high-value foods, olive oil has become a target for food fraud. So how do we know the olive oil we buy is really what it says on the label? Currently, the EU requires each member state to carry out regular sampling for olive oil quality and authenticity, with over 20 different types of lab checks, as well as tasting sessions with expert panels to ensure there are no sensory defects. While these measures offer great safety, it is essential that regulators continue to update their processes and methods of analysis in order to keep fighting food fraud. The EU-funded project Oleum is leading the way in these advances. Oleum aims to identify a set of shared best practices aiming to prevent and detect olive oil fraud and to provide validated methods and reference materials for all European and international control and legislative bodies. Oleum has established a global network of laboratories and other relevant stakeholders to enhance the validation of its new analytical methods. Oleum will also create an online data sharing platform to allow for efficient resource sharing among stakeholders from around the world. Europe is the world's largest olive oil producer. Ensuring the highest quality and authenticity of olive oil on the market is vital to maintaining consumer trust and the high popularity of olive oil. For more information about the Oleum project, visit our website. Oleum. Better solutions to protect olive oil quality and authenticity.
Project Oleum. So, Milena Bučar-Miklaučić, the floor is yours.
So, thank you. Hello to everyone. Please, I share the screen. Just a little bit. It's okay? No, you didn't see? Just a minute. You see this? No.
Partly, not okay. You can start your presentation.
Okay. Just a minute. Okay.
Perfect.
Better. So, thank you, Daria. As we say, we are the Mediterranean part of Slovenia, and olive trees and olive oil is the traditional products from our area. So in the last next 25 years, we have built a research group which is occupied of quality of olive oil and the research in this field. If we see the lab, this lab is national accredited and also international accredited. We are IOC recognized. IOC, it means International Olive Oil Council, which is our agency. Not only the chemical laboratory, also the sensory analysis is very important for quality of olive oil. So we have also national accredited and international recognized sensory lab. This was the aims, or this is for this we involved in this project. If we see the oleum is focused on olive oil, so it's normally that we can collaborate it with all these labs in the world to assuring the quality and authenticity of olive oil. And the introduction, we see the video. And the Oleum Consortium is comprised of 21 partners, which are very different. There are a lot of labs, and but there are also the engineering with bioinformatics and also the stakeholders. The project is coordinated by Tulia Toschi from the University of Bologna from Italy. So we see the Oleum Consortium that a lot of partners is in Europe, but we have also in Argentina and in Israel and in China, the laboratory which collaborated in this consortium. Objectives of the project is to develop new and or improved analytical methods for assuring the quality and authenticity of olive oil, to develop the Oleum data bank, to develop and support a worldwide community of proficient analytical laboratories involved in this analysis of olive oil, therefore establishing a wide Oleum network. But why is so important to guarantee the quality and authenticity of olive oil? We have a lot of products by olive oil. The annual report placed olive oils as a vulnerable for products for fraud. The high price of olive oil, the distinctive sensory profile, and its reputation as a healthy source of dietary fats also make olive oils target for adulteration or illegal blending, or deliberate mislabeling or less expensive classes of olive oils. So the European Food Fraud Report take the fats and oil become the first frauded product. And this was also the reason that we must take the new method for notify the fraud. Why olive oil? Because it's very good for health. It means the olive oil has health claims. It's the unique product of fats which has the health claims. Also, it is very known that the health benefits of olive oil. And this is the reason that that is a lot of fraud in this in this sector. Europe's country, the largest producers of olive oil. It's more than 70% of the world's production. but and in the last year, in the last 10 years, we see that the production of olive oil. In the other hand, also the consumption of olive oil is rising. So if you see in the graph, there are not only the European country members which have the production in last 10 years so big, is also non-European countries. And the problem is that that we need the harmonization of the standards and the harmonization of legislation. Why? Because it's important to seek uniformity in national and international legislation, because you see the difference of the quality parameters, the difference of categories in the world. It means that we have in codex standards different with European standards, and in Australia is very different. So the aims of the project was also how to harmonize these criteria for quality, but also for authenticity. In Europe, we have 4 categories of different olive oil. Only extra virgin and virgin olive oil are the category of virgin oil. But in other part of the world, it have the 3rd virgin category, which is virgin olive oil, corrente. And this make a little disharmony in the market. And so because of that, it's very important to harmonize legislation, but also the standards. Research activity based on the development of improved or new methods by targeted approaches with the aim. It was to detect new markers of soft deodorization process, to discover illegal blends, to control olive oil quality, freshness, to improve the organoleptic assessment with a quantitative panel test. What means? In the sector of olive oil, the sensory analysis is very important, because with sensory analysis, you classify it in the category, such as in wine sector. And it's very important that this method, it's not so subjective, that you put it in objective means. It's a lot of material in the web. So if some of you is interesting to see the outcome of this project, you can share in the web. The final conference, it was on February. It means 2 months ago. And I can briefly go to the outcomes. There are the 6 new analytical methods for authenticity, but another 10 methods which are support to the panel analysis or to other fraud analysis. Our institute is working a lot on the segment of biophenols. Biophenols are very good antioxidants. So this is, we validated two methods in this field. So I think that it was very good collaboration with the other labs, and the new protocol we proposed for health climbs, because the health climbs did not have the method with which we can certify these climbs. The other is the panel test, which we have a lot of applied new method for volatile components, and we have flash gas chromatography, and I think that is very good support to check the panel, the sensory panel. Also, we have new reference materials for the sensory analysis. This is very difficult because the olive oils has a lot of components, and we must choose the main component which create one defect. But if you wish to go on the web, you see how our olive oil is produced. You see how it must be olive oil labeling, and a lot of publication. I think that is near 30 or 40 scientific publication. And in the final conference, it was very successful because we have over 320 people attending the final conference. But I think that is very good that we have a big and very good Oleum network. So who is the Oleum network? You see here there are 103 members from 22 different countries, and I think that is very good, and that is very good for collaboration and for new innovation. So you can see also in Twitter or online. And sorry, I must go, and thank you for your attention. Enjoy the extra virgin olive oil and came in Slovenia, in this part of this Mediterranean part of Slovenia. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Milena, for this very, very interesting presentation. And before you leave, I would have just one short question, and that would be, how did you become a partner in this consortium? What is your story?
No, because we are very known lab in International Olive Oil Council. It means we are recognized, and there are a lot of members. There are 44 members in IOC, which is occupied on olive culture, on olive growing, on olive oil. So this is the first contact. We have very, very good contact with IOC, and also from the other project, because we are the projects such as Interreg Italia, Slovenia, because we are near the border, and we do something, a lot of projects, which we training the panel, the sensory analysis, with the education of in the university, and so on. I think that is very good to have this kind of collaboration.
Thank you for your reply. I see Mr. Renato would like to ask for the floor, so please proceed with your question, Mr. Renato.
Thank you for your presentation. I just would like to know if it's possible to identify who are the participants of the Oleum, Brazilian participants of the Oleum network.
No, it's I collaborated with Argentina because the Argentinian lab is in the IOC, and we have straight collaboration with them. I can try to see, I don't know which is the Brazilian, but I can send the communication if you wish. It's no problem. Thanks.
Okay, Milena, we will get in touch with you and ask you to prepare this reply, and then contact Mr. Renato and send and provide.
Sorry for confusion and so what, but you know.
Not a problem. We thank you for your collaboration, for your participation, and we understand you have to leave at 6. So thank you for being with us this even short time. We will now continue with bye-bye. We will now continue with our program. I apologize sincerely to Professor Dermastia, who should be the first speaker in this part of the program, but still unexpected things happen. So I announce now the next speaker, Professor Marina Dermastia from National Institute of Biology in Ljubljana, Slovenia. Professor Marina Dermastia has more than 30 years of Slovenian and international experiences in studying molecular interactions between plant pathogens and plants. Currently, she's in a group leader of the Phytoplasma Research Laboratory at National Institute of Biology, which is a globally recognized for its basic phytoplasma studies, as well as for developing new molecular methods for their detection. She was invited here today to present the project Tropic Safe, based on her fruitful cooperation with leading phytoplasma teams from all continents. So, Professor Dermastia, the floor is yours.
Buenas tardes a todos. Soy Marina Dermastia del Instituto Nacional de Biología. En los próximos minutos voy a presentar el proyecto Tropic Safe. Okay, this was my first, and first I would like to invite you to Costa Rica, which is my favorite place in Latin America. But actually, this is not the part of our project. And let me give a second to share my presentation. Okay, can you see it?
Yes, we can see it. Proceed, please.
Okay, so today I'm going to present you our work in this project, Tropic Safe. Oops. I don't know what's going on. Doesn't work properly. Sorry for this. Okay. So the tropic associated diseases in tropical and subtropical perennial crops. This is a project associated with Horizon 2020. It started in 2017 and it should be finished this year, but due to the COVID situation, it was just recently prolonged for another year. So the overall budget of this project is about $4 million of euros. Sorry. So the consortium coordinator is Professor Assunta Bertaccini from the University of Bologna. Obviously, the Italians are very active in this European project. And we have quite a big consortium, which consists of academics, research centers, foundations, SMEs, and several producer associations. So we have quite some partners from Latin America, especially from university. We have University of Chile from Santiago de Chile, and Colpo from Mexico. Then we have one research center from Mexico, from Merida, and we have one research center from Cuba, and producers from Jamaica, Chile, Mexico, and from Guadeloupe. We also have quite big stakeholders advisory boards with really a lot of stakeholders. And let's go to the projects. As I said, the project addresses very dangerous insect-borne prokaryote associated diseases of coconut, which is coconut little yellowing, then grapevine, and the diseases that we study is grapevine yellows. And we studied also citruses and the disease long pink or citrus greens. So all those diseases affect the trade and import of agricultural products and materials worldwide. And in our project, we are focused on tropical and subtropical areas in Africa, Latin America, Caribbean, and subtropical regions of Europe. So here are our studied areas. You can see that there is quite some places in Latin America and Central America. So we have our studied areas in Mexico, Cuba, Jamaica, Guadeloupe, and in Chile. But also we have 2 studied areas in Ghana and South Africa, and few in Europe, especially in Spain, Italy, and in Slovenia. So our project develops evidence-based and robust prevention and management measures toward the target diseases in order to reduce both local losses and threats in the agro industry. And according to our consortium, you can see that there is really a strong collaboration between EU and non-EU partners in this project. The main goal is to provide innovative tools and solutions to manage and reduce the impact of target crop diseases. So I have mentioned the diseases. I have also mentioned the crops, but here in this table you have also the pathogen and the insect vectors of those pathogens. So the main pathogens of our research are Candidatus phytoplasma palmicola in coconut, for which the insect vector is not known. And we also have another phytoplasma with the insect vector Haplexius crudus. So we are looking also for another vectors of coconut and also possible another pathogens of coconut. So in citruses, we are studying Candidatus liberibacter asiaticus, africanus, and americanum. For all of these pathogens, the insect vectors are known, but we are also looking for new ones. And for grapevine, we are studying Candidatus phytoplasma asteris, solani, fraxini, pruni, and we also have quite a list of known insect vectors, and we are looking for new ones. So the specific objectives of our project are obtaining updated data and information of these diseases, to generate new and deeper knowledge on epidemiological cycles, to develop advanced and new integrated pest management strategies, to obtain cost and environmental impact reduction of phytosanitary controls, and to evaluate socioeconomic sustainability and feasibility of new technologies and new pest management strategies. it would be obvious to assume that we are mostly involved in grapevine diseases, but this is not entirely true, because Tropic Safe develops evidence-based and robust prevention and management measures toward the target diseases. We are also working on development of molecular diagnostic methods for all studied diseases, including the validation of new developed protocols. However, our main task, our Slovenian main task is associated with developing protocols for the on-site detection of phytoplasmas. And most likely you don't know what phytoplasmas are. So these are the smallest known bacteria, both according to their genome size and according to their cell size. What I mean with the small size, they are in the size of big viruses. So for many decades, until 19th of the previous century, all phytoplasma diseases were in studies associated with viruses. And so we only recently know that these are really bacteria, but they behave somehow like viruses, so we are not able to culture them, so we can detect and study them only in the plant, which is really hard, and which means that detection methods are really specific and only based on molecular protocols. However, our research group at the National Institute of Biology in Ljubljana is globally recognized for development of molecular detection protocols for phytoplasmas, and we are also part of the consortium of EU reference laboratories for phytoplasma diagnostic, and our lab is also National Reference Laboratory for Phytoplasmas. In our research, we are research in this Tropic Safe project, we are very much focused on grapevine yellow diseases caused by phytoplasmas. And in Tropic Safe, I am a coordinator for all grapevine yellows development protocols. Phytoplasmas have really specific symptomatic on grapevine. So the symptoms include yellowing or reddening of leaf blades, but this depends on the cultivar of grapevine. So those symptoms are yellowing on white varieties and reddish on red varieties. The infected grapevines show this downward curling of leaves. The important symptom is lack or incomplete lignification of shoots. And most important, of course, for a vine producer is the abortion of inflorescence. And in the case when inflorescence started to develop, usually we have the shriveling of berries. So there is no yield, and phytoplasmas are really one of the most dangerous grapevine diseases worldwide. And especially this is important in Europe, where grapevine is one of the most important crops. But what is important to emphasize is that all symptoms of grapevine yellows are very similar and are not dependent on the causing phytoplasma. So we have a lot of unrelated phytoplasmas all around the world that cause the same symptoms on grapevine. But of course, because they are not taxonomically related, we need to develop specific detection methods for each specific phytoplasma. And this is the idea of this project. So within Tropic Safe, we collaborate mostly with Chile and South Africa for the obvious reason. These are the only out of Europe wine producing countries in our consortium. And like in Europe, phytoplasmas have a great economic impact on their wine industry. So there is really strong input in developing new molecular methods for detecting phytoplasmas in Chile and of course also in South Africa, where in Chile we collaborate with the University of Chile in Santiago, and in South Africa with the University of Stellenbosch in Cape region. So during the project, we are all the time producing scientific and technological fact sheets, which will be bound together in the handbook after the project will be finished next year. But all those fact sheets are already published. You can find them on our Tropic Safe webpage. Here are only two examples of these fact sheets in which our laboratory was involved. So we prepared the reference material for molecular testing of Candidatus phytoplasma solani for all partners all around the globe. And in additional fact sheet, we prepared some new facts about epidemiology of phytoplasmas associated with grapevine yellows in South Africa, Chile, and Italy. So the most important target group in our project are the producers. So we collaborate with them very tightly, and we have several training sessions. We had several training sessions planned, but actually in vivo, let's say in vivo, we had only one, and this was exactly 1 year ago in Merida in Yucatan. So this was the training session, how to use LAMP methodology for palms. Unfortunately, because of coronaviruses, our this year training session in South Africa was postponed, and we still hope that we'll go to Guadeloupe next year, but who knows, we'll see. However, we have a lot of webinars instead of these live training sessions, and you can find all these methods nicely described on our YouTube channel, like this loop-mediated isothermal amplification of nucleic acids, for which our lab is, I think, one of the best on the world. So, in short, that was all from my side, and I'll be happy to answer any questions if there are any. And you have here my address, and there is a Tropic Safe webpage, and you can contact me anytime if you have further.
Professor Dermastia, thank you very much for your in-depth presentation. I'm looking at the list of panelists and attendees. I don't see, no one is asking for the floor, or are there any questions for Professor Dermastia at this point? Maybe I would have one question, and this would be, since this project Tropic Safe is tackling tropical and subtropical countries, how is this important for Slovenia, since we are neither of those countries? maybe you could explain this a little bit for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that this is really a good question, but during the preparation of Tropic Safe proposal, I learned that grapevine is actually classified as subtropical crop. So we were actually in from the beginning, so we were not forced to imagine anything or that. So the grapevine was important crop in this region. But on the other hand, we are developing methods for all kinds of pathogen, and because we are working mostly or mainly on these molecular methods, it really doesn't matter which pathogen is involved. So we are working on their DNA, and so we can work all around the planet.
Okay, thank you very much for this also additional explanation. And then I thank you very much for your presentation. And now we move to a little bit another field. We move to archaeology. Our next speaker is Benjamin Stular. He comes from Research Center of Slovenian Academy of Science and Arts. The project that he will present provides international cohesion between 41 partners from 4 continents and external connectivity to existing research platforms. For example, it provides a portal with a catalog of archaeological datasets available online and virtual, research environments for data-focused archaeology. As this seems very interesting, we invited Professor Stular to share with us his experience and insights with the project Ariadne Plus. So Professor Stular, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay. Okay, so I wanna thank. Good afternoon. I would like to thank the organizer for inviting us to present our project, and to all the participants for your perseverance and your attention. I will be presenting the Horizon 2020 project Ariadne Plus, but there are 3 other people that have co-authored this presentation: Sheena Bassett, Franco Nicolucci, and Julian Richards. If I would only have 1 minute to present the project, I would say it's connecting the past to open up the future. We have more than a minute, so we can start at the beginning. In Greek mythology, Ariadne is a daughter of Minos and Thisbe of Crete, and she gave Theseus the thread with which he found the way out of the labyrinth. To this day, we associate Ariadne's thread with solving a problem by applying logic in all available routes. And this is where our project, biological dataset networking in your research infrastructure for geology.
Professor Stular, we don't hear you. Professor Stular, are you with us? No, we somehow lost him.
Yes.
Are you with us? Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I've lost connection a bit. I'm back. So let's continue. One of the grand challenges of data-intensive science is to facilitate knowledge discovery. And life before Ariadne for archaeology was this. These are screenshots from several dozens of individual online databases that an archaeologist needed to use in order to get the information. And now within the project, we have many partners, and we are able to provide, and Argentine is one of the partners. And what Ariadne does is links the partners internally. This is the circle in the middle. It provides cohesion, but it also provides connection to other infrastructures, for example, European Open Science Cloud, etc. Our main goal, you could say, is making data fair. Fair means findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. This is very important because often scientists or researchers are criticized that we do not provide our data. But it's not just making, when we finish with the research, we cannot just dump our data somewhere to some server and it would immediately live on. There's quite a bit of work that needs to be done before that happens. And this is one of the things that we do in the project. And what's the end goal? The end goal is one of the main aims is this. This is called Ariadne Portal, and it's a search portal for archaeological data of all the partners, and hopefully at some point of majority of all relevant archaeology. Within the project, we are trying to extend geographically and to different languages. And we are also trying to increase metadata richness and standardization. Now, standardization is the key word here. This, for example, and our main tool is what we call Ariadne reference model, which is based on CDOC CRM model. I know that that there's probably not many data scientists among you. So let's have a look at a simplified example. Let's imagine that we have one database on ancient sculptures, one database on paintings, and one database on archaeological finds. In the first column, you see under ancient sculptures, there are sculptors, under paintings, there are painters, and so on. But now what we're trying to do is merge these three databases so that they can be discovered. And this is done in a process where, for example, in this case, the sculpture, the painter, and the excavator, they are all made known. They're our database search engine knows them as author. So now when we look for the author, we will get the sculptor and the painter. Now this doesn't sound that complicated, but bear in mind that there are dozens of databases, there are thousands of types of data, and millions of data points. So the whole task becomes more complicated, and this is just a snapshot into our interoperability framework, and immediately it gets quite complicated. So this is just a diagram of the processing pipeline of merging our data, of preparing our data, so that we're able to use it in Ariadne portal. So let's have a look, and to merge it in Ariadne portal, which is what we mentioned. But now here's the question that we get most often. Why bother? Just Google it. I use the term Google here as a verb, so it applies to all the major search engines. And it's a valid question, it's a good question. And many of us take it for granted that Google search or any other search engine just works. And we take the results as valid without bothering to wonder what's going on behind. But there's a lot going on behind. So for us to be able to find something so quick, search algorithms need to sort the data. And this data is sorted for example, in Google's example, by what's called Google ranking systems. And these systems are designed to sort hundreds or billions of web pages. And obviously, they're doing this with the goal to serve the most common searches. Here's a list of the, actually the list of 7 or 8 most common search uses, according to research by Backlinko. And of course, none of them is science, let alone archaeology. No one, Google will not develop search engine for archaeology. In addition, for some data, so for example, only 9% of Google search make it to the bottom of the first page, and only less than 0.5% of searchers go to the second page. And anyone who's tried to set up their own web page knows how difficult it is to get to the first page of Google Hits. Even if the search is very specific to what you're doing, it's very unlikely that you'll be on the top of the first page unless you have invested a lot, time, effort, money, I'm talking millions, into your web service. So what does that mean for researchers? It's very difficult for a researcher to find relevant results. And when we do find them, we need to make additional checks to verify the scientific reliability of that data. And of course, we have no influence on how the search is conducted, because that remains a secret, a well-hidden secret. And of course, we are not, in developing Ariadne portal, we are not trying to compete with Google. That would be ludicrous. It was mentioned earlier that the entire budget for Horizon Horizon Europe for 7 years, it's going to be 95 billion euros. That may sound a lot, but let me assure you that Google's budget just for research and maintenance of their search engine is far bigger than that. So of course, we are not competing in it. So what are we doing? Let's have a look at an example. Let's have a look at a car. Everybody knows cars, right? So let's imagine this state-of-the-art, everyone wants it car. It's great in most conditions. It will work perfectly in most conditions, but not all conditions. There are definitely some niche specific conditions when the car on the top of your image will just not work, and you need a very niche product, a very specific product, and that's what we are developing. So finally, we've come this far, so to just demonstrate how this works. Obviously, free text search provides an autocomplete function, which is something that sounds like, yeah, of course it does. That's what we're used to it. But again, there's a lot of work behind it. And a lot of very clever people have been working so that this autocomplete function works as it is intended. We can search the data through data providers. So each Ariadne partner is a data provider. And also, of course, using that, we can filter the data by publisher, which gives immediately an interesting insights into the data that we weren't able to get before. Or if you would want to have something as simple as here, before it would be a whole research that would take, I don't know, months or 2 months to get information like this. Here on the left are two key elements for archaeology. We can limit the search in space, in geospatially, and important for archaeology, we can limit our search by date. So in archaeology, it's all about dating. So essentially, Ariadne portal is, it enables researchers and others interested in archaeology to browse the catalog using the terms where, when, and what, which covers most of the archaeological questions, or the majority archaeological questions. And now for the end, I will just briefly address the direct cooperation between Slovenia and Argentina that took place within Ariadne project. Slovenian partner is, of course, my institution, and we have the partner from Argentina. I don't speak Spanish, so I will not insult them by reading it out loud. You can read it here on the right. So it's an Institute of Anthropology from Cordoba. And so we, the Slovenian partner, have been developing one database. It's called Zbiva. It's about early medieval finds in mostly Slovenia and neighboring countries. And our database is based on Arches. Arches is an open source data management platform specifically developed for the heritage field. But just the fact that such a thing exists, so an already existing data management platform, doesn't mean that it's very easy to implement. I cannot just download something. I still need the developers. And our Argentinian partner was developing a similar database, and they also decided to use Arches as a platform. And so we were able to join. We would share our experience. They found it helpful. They were able to develop things quickly because of that, and they were able to develop what at the end is a product that's superior to our product. So now we can get some useful feedback in our future development. And of course, in a huge project like Ariadne Plus there is no work package that says exchange of experience between partners, tick box. This is just something that happens on the side, that happens during coffee breaks in the meetings, and this is how this happened. And this is why such projects are also important. Yes, there's all these pillars and there's all these goals and aims that we achieve, but there's also these that still cannot be replaced virtually, is this cooperation. So Tim Cook just recently says that innovation is not something you can plan for, which means innovation is not something that you can put in a work package and deliver online. It really helps to do it in person. So that's all from me. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Stular. Since we are a little bit past the time that we have planned for this event and there are no questions, I will try to conclude this today's event. I would really like to thank to all of you to attending for your participation in LAC Days discussion. Very, very big thank you to all presenters, to participants, to the ambassadors for being with us today. We sincerely hope to see you next year at the next LAC Days 2021, and maybe hopefully, if everything goes well, here in Ljubljana in Slovenia. Till then, I thank you for being with us. Have a lovely afternoon and evening, and till the next time, goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks all.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.